Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Bookmas. Obviously, as you can tell by the title of today's video, we will be talking about my December TBR. And I usually say we will be choosing my December TBR, but there is no choosing happening in today's video because you guys have already chosen my December TBR. On my story on my Bookstagram, I posted a series of polls where I used emojis to disguise the different books that you guys were voting on. The emojis weren't the most obvious things in the entire world because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these books had very similar kind of vibes, I guess you could say. So it was very difficult to try to figure out the emoji. But with that being said, this TBR is not only different from my other TBRs because obviously you guys chose on my Instagram story for me, but also majority of these books are books that I do not physically own. If you've been watching my TBR videos over the past few months, you would know that my physical TBR is looking just a little shallow, I'm not gonna lie. Over the last several months, I have been in a book buying ban. I bought some books when I was in the UK, but I have now officially read almost every single book that I bought in the UK. So we are back to the OG physical TBR. I have about, I want to say 20 books on my physical TBR. None of them seem super appealing to me. Actually, very soon, I will be going through my physical TBR and unhauling a bunch of books, I think. With that being said, there are a lot of books that I would like to read that I do not physically own yet. For this TBR, I gave myself pretty much free reign, and majority of the choices are not books that I own. But with all of that being said, let's look at the polls. So the stories have officially expired. They have been up for 24 hours. So starting off with the first story, this is actually a reread. For the red book, this one we have a fencing, which is just like my fighting emoji. We have masks, and then we also have a sword. Okay, I honestly could not figure out what to use for this book. And the other one is a fairy, a mushroom, and a book. Let me just grab those two books because they are coincidentally on the same exact shelf. Haven't guessed already. The fairy and the mushroom is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and then the other one is an ember in the ashes. The reason why I used the mask emoji is because Elias, if you don't know, he is training to be basically a soldier for the Empire, and those soldiers are called masks. So I use that. I honestly couldn't really think of any emojis for an ember in the ashes, but I've been really wanting to reread these two books. I feel like no matter what, I will get to them within the next month or two. We'll reveal which one I wanted to win, and that was an ember in the ashes. I really wanted an ember in the ashes to win. I want to pick up Air very soon, and I feel like after I read Air, reading an Ember in the Ashes would just be so bittersweet. So I did want this to win, but Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies did in fact win. Honestly assumed Emily Wilde's would win just because of the emojis. Personally would have chosen that one on the polls as well, just because, I don't know, the emojis are just really cute. So the first book on my December TBR is Emily Wilde. This is one of the only physical books I will have on my TBR because, as we know, I do not own a lot of these books I put on there. Okay, so the next poll, we have the emojis of a thread, a magic wand, and a city at night, okay? This one also, I don't know why I had such a hard time figuring out the emoji. This one is Fragile Threads of Power. It is a sequel to the Shades of Magic trilogy. And as we know, I am absolutely obsessed with the Shades of Magic series, okay? So obviously, I want to read Fragile Threads of Power very soon. It takes place not like right after the last book. It follows different characters from the series. It does not follow our two main characters, Kel and Lila. So that one is Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. And then the next one, the emojis are kind of bad. I'm looking at this now and I don't think that this is like a Roman structure, okay? So the building, now that I'm looking at it, it was supposed to be like pillars and giving Roman, okay? We have a sword and then we have a wolf. This is The Strength of the Few by James Islington, the sequel to The Will of the Many. I recently read, and there is a reading vlog for that book in Bookmas. Don't know when it's coming out, but it will be included in a Bookmas reading vlog. I literally finished the book, I think the day before The Strength of the Few was released. I have been nonstop thinking about The Will of the Many since I finished it. And so obviously I really want to pick up The Strength of the Few because it just came out and that cliffhanger was crazy. Let me explain the emojis while I'm at it. So the first emoji was supposed to be giving like pillars Roman because it's kind of like a Roman esque fantasy, I guess you could say. Sword because they're fighting, I don't know. And then the wolf is actually because there is a wolf adjacent creature. Put wolf. I couldn't really think of any for The Will of the Many. So that's what that's giving. And this one is actually a tie. Not only is it 50-50, it is 88 votes to 88 votes. So I'm going to be the tiebreaker, okay? Because this one I actually really was leaning towards a specific book. And if you can't tell, that is The Strength of the Few. So therefore, I am choosing The Strength of the Few because I just have to be the tiebreaker for this, unfortunately. I know, it's so unfortunate. The next book that is going on my December TBR is The Strength of the Few, and I am so excited. Okay, and then the next one, this one also doesn't really make a lot of sense, okay? A Girl Tried, and that's all we can ask for, is a pen, the dead rose, and a keyboard, okay? And this is Blood Over Brighthaven. So from my general knowledge of this book, it's not a lot. It is an urban fantasy, I believe, but there is a typewriter on the front of it. So that's kind of where I got the keyboard. And then I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I think it's an academy setting. I could be totally wrong. Or it's like a workplace setting. I don't really remember. Probably. I'm doing really bad explanations right now. And then the dead rose is simply just because it's a red cover. Okay. I tried. And then the next one is the Fireheart. And then the two swords, and then a crown. And this is actually Jasad Air. And I really want to read Jasad Air, okay? This, I honestly cannot explain the emojis yet again. It's a Romantasy, so that's kind of the emoji that I use for Romantasy. Fighting, because I'm pretty sure there's fighting in it, and then the crown, because air. So I wanted Jasad Air to win. It unfortunately got 46%, and then Blood Over Brighthaven got 54%. I obviously want to read Blood Over Brighthaven, but I really wanted to read Jasad Air. The next book on the TBR is Blood Over Brighthaven. So for the next one, we have the green cover. This one is the Scottish flag, a sword, and then a mountain. This one is actually, I'm trying to not knock over my Highland cow. And knock over, yep, there it goes. It topples right over. One is actually Outlander. I am actually obsessed with Outlander. After going to Scotland, I'm even more obsessed with it, okay? So I got the book while I was in Scotland. So that is the first book. And then the next one is Swords, Castle, and Stag. So this one is actually Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. She has so many books out there. So many books out there. It's actually crazy. But I've heard the book to start with is Assassin's Apprentice. I'm pretty sure this is a medieval fantasy, I think. These two are on the same poll because I feel like they give similar vibes. I don't know why, but I feel like they do. Although this is a 50-50, the votes do differ by 1 vote. And with 87 votes to 86, Outlander did in fact win. So Outlander is the next book that will be going on my December TBR, and I could not be more excited. There is not a single book that I have as an option that I do not want to read, so I am just excited for no matter what goes on my TBR, but I am very excited for Outlander. This is a hefty book though. If you can't tell, it is really heavy, okay? It looks like it's like 600 pages. It's not. It's 900 pages long. So there is a lot of paper jammed into this one book, and it is actually so heavy. This hefty book is the next one that's going on my December TBR. And for the next poll, for the red cover, we have a sword, a skull, and then once again, the heart on fire. Guess what that means? Romantasy. That book is The Second Death of Locke. I wish that there was a knight emoji, but there wasn't. There's no emojis that fit these books. I swear to God. So that one's the first book. And then next we have a crow, once again, the fighting, and then a spade. That one is actually Crooked Kingdom. That is the second book to the Six of Crows duology. Crow, obviously. Fighting. I don't know, they fight, I guess. This was really hard. I don't know why. And then the spade is actually for gambling, because if you don't know, Jesper does in fact have a bit of a gambling issue. So that spade is for him. I couldn't really think of anything for this. If you can't tell, it's actually kind of embarrassing how hard it was to figure out the emojis. But this one actually won, not by a landslide, but the past two have been 50-50. So this one is a little bit more. So The Second Death of Locke got 57%, and then Crooked Kingdom got 43%. So the next book on my TBR is The Second Death of Locke. Recently, I have been hearing a lot about this book, and it has piqued my interest, okay? I've been wanting to dive a little bit more back into Romantasy a little bit, and I feel like I would really love this book. So very excited to have that on my TBR. Next up are actually two books that I do in fact physically own. I know, who would have guessed? But this one, so the yellow cover has a door, a scooter, and a tree. And this one is actually, let me find her, Under the Whispering Door. This is the same author as The House in the Cerulean Sea. And I recently thrifted this book, but the reason why I use those emojis because there's a scooter on the front cover. I don't know if you can see it. There's also trees. It's under the whispering door. So there's a door. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. Then the next one, we have the wave emoji, the girl emoji, and then the dragon emoji. We have the girl who fell beneath the sea. The wave for the sea, the girl for the girl who fell beneath the sea, and then the dragon because I'm pretty sure there's dragons in this. I believe. Those are the two books for the poll. And the one that won 43% and 57%. And the 57% was The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. So this is the last book that is on my TBR. I'm not gonna lie, this way of picking my TBR was really, really fun because it took the stress off of my hands and it put it into yours without you guys knowing. I mean, you knew that you were voting for books, but you didn't know what you were voting for, you know? And this was super fun just getting you guys involved. I will definitely do it again. Quick recap. These are all of the books that are on my December TBR. We have 6 books total, so fingers crossed I can finish them in the month of December. It is unfortunately the end of today's Bookmas video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next Bookmas video. Bye.